We're back, everyone. It's Monday, 6 p.m. I know you've missed us. Simon's been away on holiday. I've been away on holiday. Barney's been eating all the biscuits and James been drinking cocktails for fun. So welcome to another Monday Night Live. If you've not joined us in a while, because we haven't been on the air, just to remind you, we take all the questions you can throw at us, whether it's golf fitting, equipment, golf swing analysis, or Cocker Spaniels. Anything you like, throw it our way and we'll do our very best to answer. We've got 2 iPads standing by and we would love to take all of your questions. What have you been up to? Been playing some golf?
Playing a little bit of golf, week away, a little bit of golf. Yeah, just enjoying life a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
Been nice.
Yeah. What a cracking week at the PGA Championship.
Love that.
Alex Noren, he is a relentless winner in Europe. Not so much in the US, but when he comes on home soil, plays in front of the UK crowds, he certainly knows how to turn it on.
Yeah, and most successful Swedish player, certainly, whether it's sort of Nordic player now in terms of wins.
He's overtaken Jesper.
Yeah. So he's now...
Part of it was probably...
I think so. But certainly now they were saying he's most successful of that region ever on tour, which is, that actually, there's some great players that come out of Sweden as well. So that's, and he's so impressive around Wentworth. I mean, up to world number 18 now as well. The 2 wins recently, and he's suddenly his career's gone that way, and he's vice captain of the Ryder Cup, and maybe he should be playing. Yeah,
and there's been some incredible performances from some golfers. I mean, obviously Marco Penge, everyone knows about him, but Adrian Sadier, I remember 15 years ago working on tour and seeing him struggling for his card and kick it down the street. 15 years later, I mean, that's quite a long time to be out on year on year on tour. It's easy to sort of just fall into just another, touring pro. But he's now got a full PGA Tour card and will be out there next year, as will Marco. Marco was 3 years ago sort of picking up balls on the local range. Not quite that bad, but, he was really battling with his game.
Yeah, and I hadn't appreciated Sadier being out there that long. But he didn't back off at all. I think there was a nice interview with him on Saturday evening saying from his previous win, very emotional, getting his first win on tour after all that time. How are you going to feel tomorrow? He's like, I don't know, but I'll just see how it go. And just stayed there. Really, very impressive, actually.
Yeah, he did well in the Irish Open. It was leading after round 3, I think, there as well. And he was in the mix this week. I mean, he's made a stack of cash. I think he's 3rd on the Race to Dubai. Is it Race to Dubai called? Yeah, still called that, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But he's 3rd there, so incredible turn of foot. And of course, it would be amiss of us not to see and talk about Charlie Hull getting over the line with the kind of a bit of a present from someone else. Didn't have the best, never like to see that, but it's great to get. And it could be the catalyst, right? It could be that little duck off the back, since 2022 she hasn't won and now she's got a win under her belt. Yeah,
it's funny. It almost feels surprising it's been that long. But she's had several, 2 second places coming into this week, coming off the back of injury and illness and whether that's, I think she said in an interview, it's sort of freshened her up actually, kind of given herself a bit of headspace, a bit of time off. But yeah, I mean, again, didn't really back off, got under a lip on bunker on 17, and then Titical then had the putting situation. 1 bad putt really, I think, of the 4. But hey, she said a bit of luck goes your way, and maybe that's that, as you say, the catalyst to now. She's got plenty of wins in her for sure. But great to see her get over the line.
Yeah, when you look back in the history of the game, you think about certain players and the sort of that moment where their careers kind of flip, and Charlie's had a good career anyway, but she certainly hasn't lived up to her potential, you would have to say, and hopefully this is that win, that because she'd been getting a lot of seconds recently, hasn't she? Getting it over the line again just shows you, as good as you can be, winning is still difficult. It doesn't matter how good you are, but then when you see someone like Alex Noren that gets a whiff of it, doesn't he? A whiff of it at the British Masters and won, and then he got a whiff of it last week and won. Just shows you that mindset. I mean, Charlie Hull is every bit the player that Alex Noren is, but Alex Noren is a little bit better at getting it over the line. That steely, competitor in him. Not saying that Charlie isn't steely, but I think that you look at the players that have been prolific winners, they know how to win, don't they? And there is a way of winning.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what Charlie says about her game, and maybe possibly why she doesn't get over the line as often. I don't think it's I don't think she's shy of winning. I think her game is go at it the whole time, and she enjoys playing that game. And says, look, it's boring if you're not shooting at pins. And shooting at pins is maybe where there's that one shot here or there that she short sides, or that aggressive nature just maybe gets her out of position slightly the wrong side of the line, where others might go middle of the green. Scheffler, the absolute kind of antithesis of that, where he's so much strategy of takes a big number out of play, but whereas for Charlie, she just goes for it. And I think it's nice to see that that someone's prepared to play that kind of game and still up there and winning. Would she win more playing slightly more conservatively? Possibly. But that maybe actually the game, and I think the ladies' game in particular, needs the characters like that and needs the kind of the go-getters. Because I think it can be a little bit beige at times, I think, the ladies' game. And so someone who kind of goes there and gives it heck, I'm all for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, well, we've got plenty of you tuned in. So we'll take the questions as usual on the iPads. Shako is in the house. Good evening, gents. How long should a driver be for a junior at 140 centimetres tall?
Oh, can we doing in centimetres? I'm old school, working feet and inches. So 40 centimetres, that's going to be about 5'3", I think. It depends a little bit on their ability. I think at that kind of height, I'd be looking at around the 43.5 inches, 43 inches. So effectively standard 3-wood length wouldn't be a million miles off. Kind of depends where they are in their growth spurts. Essentially, if you're about to go through a growth spurt, then you could err a little bit longer. But ball striking ability also plays a part. But I would say 43 inches is a pretty good baseline.
Very good. Doug, challenge. Take on the tee shot on the 3rd hole at Wentworth if you have it on your gizmo.
That we certainly do.
Add some wind into and off the left.
Okay.
Doug, what are you
we can certainly do that. We'll do a couple of questions whilst it's loading up, though.
Yeah. Daniel Winterbottom. No, Shako. And the second question would be, can a graphite design Tour AD BB still hang in there with the modern offerings, or am I missing out on anything playing the blue bullet?
No, I think ultimately, if it's the right, the graphite design are great quality shafts. So it doesn't matter how old it is; they use top quality materials, and if it suits you and works for you, then absolutely it can sit with any of the latest shafts. In principle, some of the latest shafts have there's more graphite to resin component. They're using slightly higher grade materials, which allow them to layer them differently and utilize bend profile, regional, zonal stiffness a little bit more without them feeling harsh. But the BB's a great shaft, and if it suits you and you've got a head that works on the end of it, it's still a great shaft. So you don't feel the need to change if you get on with it, like the feel of it, and it performs.
Daniel Winterbottom. Hi, gents. Good evening, Daniel. Looking for something between a 5/6 iron, a P770 and 7-wood G430. That is draw bias, but not a hybrid. Any thoughts on clubs to try?
Well, I mean, your only option for draw biased and not a hybrid, I mean, you could go to, in principle, you could go to something like the DHY style kind of tailor-made, kind of bigger driving iron. They're not technically that draw biased, but in theory, a little bit more offset. Otherwise, your only option for draw biased and not a hybrid is a wood, is a higher lofted wood, but that could go very, very high. So it depends on what ball flight you want. But if you want draw biased and in between that, then you kind of have to go a hybrid.
Very good. I'm going to have to go quickly dash up and get my clubs. I'm not going to be able to use your driver. Noel,
go under the wind.
Noel, 1988. Evening, gents. Evening, Noel. Nice to see you. Just wondering why longer irons are 2 and 3 degrees gapped. Surely that is too tight to get the most from each club for your average player.
I think I'm sort of trying to find the right tee box here to play off. I think ultimately, in the main, you're absolutely right. I would say that what you tend to get into longer irons now is a progression of tech. So you're getting more face speed or kind of faster faces, which help gain ball speed progression. So if you keep 4-degree gaps going, often you can descend into no loft at all and no flight. So that's where they've softened them off a little bit, and because the spin progression gets a little bit stronger, retaining a bit of loft to keep a bit of launch angle. But where you've now got heads that have faster faces, you don't necessarily need the amount of loft gap to keep distance gain going, but you are going to have higher club speed at low lofts to keep the flight and keep the carry distance up. So, but that's where we're seeing hybrid things coming into it to help then get the height and the ball speed progression off a longer iron. So you're right, I think going down to 3 degrees at the top end of the bag can start to constrict it, but you don't want to get to the point where your iron loses too much ball flight and then you lose carry. So it's finding a balance between head style for flight, ball speed and spin. It might be an iron, it might be a hybrid, it might be a fairway wood to keep those distance gaps going, but it's a very good point you make. I'm just going to set the conditions here. So it's into off the left, I think, isn't it?
Well, thanks, Doug, for making me run up the stairs and back down again.
So what are we going? We're going oh no, we don't want 20 miles an hour. What mile an hour are we going? 15 miles an hour?
Yeah, 15 miles an hour is good, yeah. The other good tee shot to play, I was fortunate enough to be a member here for 10 years. The other tee shot off the back tee is without question the fourth as well.
Yeah.
The fourth is...
That's such a different tee shot off the back tee.
It's a tricky tee shot, that. Ian Murgatroyd. Evening, gents. Good evening, Ian. Good to have you back. Thank you. It's lovely to be back. Can you highlight the differences between the T150 and the Pro 243, please? Launch, spin, etc., etc.
So I can potentially hit a couple as well, but the T150s retain a little bit more flight into the longer irons. They've got tungsten heel and toe, which the 243 doesn't have. They both use a bit of face tech, but the 243 tends to keep a slightly lower launch, especially into the longer irons, than the new T150s. Older model T150 wasn't quite as high a launch on the longer irons, but you definitely see more launch and maybe a little bit more spin retention in the 150s, a bit more forgiveness because you've got more tungsten heel and toe. But ball speed wise, they're not overly dissimilar, but generally, yeah, a little bit more picture flight in the long irons with the 150s now.
Kev T from my channel says, loving the lives. Thank you, Kev. I do a daily live now, Monday to Friday, vertical. So go into your shorts and you'll find it there. He says, how do you hit a low flighted shot? I will show you after we've destroyed this third hole.
Won't have done having stood around in Bay all day.
Yeah. Well, it makes a difference for you not to hit 300 balls before. Chong and Yap. Hi, Stuart. Just wondering if you have answered my question about aligning the downswing with the centre of mass of the shaft to feel the lightness of the club and consequently higher club speed. Thanks. No, I haven't. Coming to you very, very soon. Pro V1 David.
Sounds very technical.
It was very technical. Yeah. It's a very deep question. That good to you. Good to you both. Good to you both back. I think he means good to have you both back. What advice and drill would you give to how far away from the ball to address Europe to win the Ryder Cup? Is Europe going to win the Ryder Cup?
So I think Europe has a slightly better team, but there's massive home advantage. So I think it's going to be really close. I'd love to see us nick it, but I think this one's coming down to one of the last couple of matches.
Yeah, I think what we've got going on our side is that it's almost the same side.
Yeah.
That's really going to help, I believe. But you're right. I mean, New York is going to be so hostile.
They said that did some VR headsets on Tuesday night to kind of get them used to. So they basically set up first tee and the situation where for individualised for each player, the kind of potential heckling and things they might get. And I think Rory said, they said, how much abuse do you want? He said, just ramp it right up so they can get used to being in a
10-0.
A hostile environment, they called it. But I don't think the crowds are going to be as bad as everyone fears they might be. But it's a New York crowd; it'll be pretty tasty.
And with regards to setup, most golfers are too much on the toes of their feet, and when they're on the toes of their feet, invariably the arms will hang close, and then when you ask someone to put your weight more on the heels of their feet, the arms feel way too close. Set your weight first, and then keep the weight there and push your arms away from yourself until you feel the right distance. But keep the weight in the heels of your feet to start with, and then move your arms away where you feel comfortable. That would be a good place to start, without seeing you, of course. Right. It's a hideous tee shot in the summertime, let alone with sort of a September wet. It's tough.
And what was interesting seeing them when it had been raining and it was sort of heavy atmosphere and conditions on the Saturday, Sunday, was like they're going in with, some of them are going with a head cover off.
Yeah.
You know, they're going in with, hybrids, with long irons, with, and seeing actually how much shorter the ball was travelling for them when it was cold.
Yeah, good to see though, right? Instead of watching the US tour every week.
Or just kind of,
yeah.
But this hole, essentially, your only options are to hit a good shot. You can see what you've got. You've got bunkers up the right. You've got a bunker that actually sets up as a bit of a target up the left-hand side.
And the trouble is, up the left on this hole gets so wet and claggy, doesn't it?
Blocked out as well.
Yeah, and blocked out. But it's like really heavy lie. And then up the right, the bunkers are deep. So as you rightly say, it's like it's just good shot or not.
Yeah. That's what I quite like about this course. It is just a case of, I know to them it's now strategy course, whereas it's a big old course for us. Yeah. You just have to hit good shots.
100%. 100%.
Right.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. We'll need it. Okay. Take that one.
Yeah.
You see, I quite liked it because I didn't send it, but now I'm...
Where's the wind out the left?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have a bit of turn on that.
Just turned it over. Well, yeah.
You thought that was going to be good.
I didn't mind
the
it.
Wind. Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
mind
yeah.
it. I might have towed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was a very pedestrian swing.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't matter. That's not good. That's not good.
Mind you, it's just you've managed to stayed in play.
Yeah.
We do one more each. I think there was a singers here on the roster.
Why not? Why not?
I think ultimately, and this is what's such a clever design. You are safe away from the bunkers. You've got a heavy shot out of thick rough, wet rough, possibly blocked out by a tree to a green that doesn't take a hot draw shape particularly well. But you've just got to hit. You've got to hit one kind of at that line.
Have we got the wind off the left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's then drifting back a little bit.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
So essentially, just got to wallop one up the left side and
I thought a bit
let it bleed back. All right.
Bit more peel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Take that one.
There you go.
And the difference is that we're worried about the first bunker on the right. They're worried about that one through the
second
fairway.
one, right? Yeah. Well, there you go.
But yeah, and you know what? Also, it's uphill.
Yeah.
It's your second drive of the day.
Yeah, it is.
And now we've still got 200 yards in.
Should we do the tee shot on the fourth as well?
Thanks for coming.
That's quite cool. Cool look of that hole. Macca, evening gents. Good evening, Macca. Nice to have you with us. Matt M, after playing Bude and Royal North Devon this weekend in some strong wind, one thing was clear: I don't have a reliable shot to keep the ball down with driver and hybrids. Any tips to help? Keeping the ball down with driver and hybrid, for what you gain, you lose in accuracy. I mean, really, if it's into the wind, just accept the fact that the ball's going to go further. Just put a good swing on it rather than changing it around. And the same with hybrids. If it's that strong, honestly, accuracy is going to win over more times than hitting a low chaser. It's really not worth getting involved with.
I think driver-wise, for me, I think players used to have to work it more because the ball spun more. The ball now doesn't spin that much. So if you're striking it well, don't overwork the flight, because if you're hitting it well, it's not going to spin too much. It's still going to go through the wind. And then you haven't done, as you said, haven't messed around with your low point, with your path, with your delivery, and then risk spraying it everywhere as well. Yeah. So focus on solid strike first.
Absolutely, 100%. Doug, Context, I stood there on Friday and watched even the best struggle with that tee shot. Yeah, it's a toughie. Shako, can you hit the Mizuno Pro T1 and the T3? How do they compare to a TM MG5 or the Ping S159? We'll do that after we finish hitting a few holes. Should we hit this tee shot? Do it.
It's a bit different off the tee I played off when I last played there.
Yeah, it's a good hole. It's a good hole.
It's only about it's only about 100 yards further back.
Yeah, not easy.
Yeah, it's
not easy.
It's the line they take that they basically go over the left trees, whereas, God, that takes some commitment. That one does. Right. But you've got more room left than it feels like, he says.
Where's the wind on this? Have we just
It's dead into.
dead into?
So it's a kind of a it's a good line if it wasn't into the wind and gone nowhere.
Apart from that, it would have been fine.
So that's the thing. So context, that's carried 260. And that's barely even got the fairway. And you think where they're hitting it to. I know they're not necessarily into a 15-mile-an-hour wind, but, you know. Sounded a solid hit.
Go on. Get down there.
They got the fairway, so mine's in the rough, and now I'm,
Go on. Down you go.
Yeah. I think for those
Down
guys,
you go.
if they're pitching it, they're probably pitching it about where your ball is now.
Yeah.
So they get the downslope and the kick, and which is where the rest of us would get if we teed off the tee we should tee off.
Yeah, it's a tough hole from back there. It's a tough hole from back there.
Tight line on that.
Yeah, there you go.
So there you go.
Good bit of fun.
Not easy.
Let's have a little look. So those irons that...
They're wedges though, so I'm gonna...
Oh, are they?
I'm gonna stick this on a relevant place for me to be playing some wedge shots in. There we go. Okay. And I'm gonna grab the relevant clubs.
Fantastic.
T1, T3, Ping and a TaylorMade.
Yeah, that's it. Quadruple A, hi gents, been a while, it has. If two people have roughly the same driving distance, but a player A has a steel shaft iron and player B has a graphite, and B hits their irons further than A, swing or club difference? James says C. We'll let Simon come back and he will give us the answer. Chung, if you're still watching, you speak like you're a golf coach. And is that the case? Let me know. So the question was, Simon, if two people have roughly the same driving distance, but player A has a steel shaft of irons and B has a graphite, and B hits their irons further than A, is it the swing or club difference?
What the heads? Might be a stronger loft.
Yeah.
There are other parameters that are in play here. It depends what iron heads they've got. You could have a Ping I240 with a 30-degree loft, and you have a P790 with a 26-degree loft. And there's a club and a bit difference there from both the tech on the head and the loft. So you can't necessarily just make a conclusion based on that. Also, what weight's the steel shaft? What weight's the graphite? Too many parameters just to call it based on that.
Yeah. Very good. Mega Metal fan who was just on my live just upstairs. Welcome to this one.
Sounds like something to do with music.
Yeah. Do you guys practice uneven lies on a mat? Well, funny you should say that.
Yeah.
We've got a platform golf in my bay upstairs, and Lewis's bay, we've got sloping lie mat. So yes, from time to time we do. Yeah. Very good kit. Go check them out online. Quadruple A, assuming that irons have the same amount of loft per club.
They might have a different tech on them. Like you say, there is still parameters that they might be different models of head, that one has face tech, one doesn't. They could still have the same loft and hit half a club difference based on faster face, like a blade with no tech, and then you put something at MP243 or a T150, weakened off a little bit. You could have them the same loft, they'd hit different distances. It's as I say, you can't make that generalization. One club might just suit one player better than the other. They could play exactly the same driver, and one would need a graphite iron shaft, one would need a steel one.
Of course, you've said that their driving distance is the same. You're suggesting that both of those drivers are optimized. If one driver is worse optimized than the other, that means that the guy that's got more club head speed is losing distance, and the guy that's got less club head speed is optimized. So the person that's hitting it the same distance with the more club head speed has a worse fitting driver, and then when he gets to his irons, he hits his irons further, he's better fitted than the guy, or they're both fitted well, but the driver's wrong. So there's so many variables and so many connotations, isn't there?
That
you just can't say, would it be the club head or is it the club shaft? Can you?
It is exactly that. There are a large number of variables that unfortunately isn't. This is the nature of. It's like swings. We've all got different physiologies, different proportions, so you're going to have different swing planes and different techniques based on how we move or an injury, or the club fitting's the same thing. There isn't if you're X speed you should be in Y, or if you're player A style wise or flight height wise you should be in this product. There are so many variables that there is not, sadly, I say sadly, if there was I wouldn't be in a job, so actually I'm not sad about it at all. No. But it just isn't as simple as that, I'm afraid.
Doug asked, new T256 iron and Vokey wedge arrived Saturday and slotted straight in the bag. Big thanks to Tom. Got it spot on. Good to hear. Let's see.
So, start with the T1 wedge. This one just happens to be the blue finish. So, see, this one's, it's got a kind of thicker section at the top, a little bit of a scoop in the middle for weight distribution. Classic forged single piece head. So, in terms of feel, performance, it's a proper forged head. They've been, not sure what happened with that one. What was that? Underhit that completely. I'm just making sure it's not being moved. Let me just make sure it's not being moved for loft, because that went shorter than I expected that to. I'd say it's classic forged head. There's no real tech in it, but the grinds have been adapted. They've got a little bit more steepness in the front half now. Yes, no wonder it only went that distance.
How much have been moved by?
A couple of degrees. It was at 58, not 56. So Mizuno, I think, have been underrated for their wedges over the years from a spin point of view. I think they've actually historically been really good for spin, but maybe haven't had the brand of some of the other heads in terms of brand strength and therefore the kind of the visibility. But actually the T1 S1 series, which their wedges over the years have been very, very good. So they do give. That's got a bit of that launch was more on the window as expecting. They do give a good amount of spin. Still slightly short, but it wasn't quite as short. So 10,000 revs of spin on an 80-yard shot, that's pretty strong. So they've got more versatile with their sole shapes. So something definitely, if you want a softer feeling wedge that actually still retains a lot of spin, the Mizunos are very good. The T3 has a little bit more of a cavity effect, a bit of perimeter weighting there. And actually it's got a really nice sort of graduation onto the sole grind where you've got a bit of leading edge beveling and a little bit of back edge relief. So really nice versatile sole shape. Visually something that's a little less blade-like. So not particularly big a head, but there's a bit of help from a weight positioning point of view. Certainly a slightly more sympathetic sole shape, that leading edge sort of softening, kind of angling helps if you get a little bit steep. Certainly some heads we've done a reasonable bit of this year. It's not an amazingly different feel to the T1s. The T1s are maybe a little bit more of a solid feeling. That must be on a slope on the fairway because it's calculating a lot more shot shape than I hit.
Yeah, it is.
But again, a little into off the right. That'll be right. It's not going the distance.
There you go. Oh yeah, 15 mile an hour into off the right. Yeah, that'll do it.
10-2 on spin. It's still a solid amount of spin off of that head, and they've got the same kind of face tech and groove patterns as the T1, but a little bit more forgiving potentially on the sole shape. And I will compare it briefly against the new milled grind head, which again, forged. Made a big deal about them being forged this year. Everyone likes the concept of a soft forged wedge. Improved face tread on the MG5s this year. I kind of like what they've done with those. That seems to get a bit more consistency of spin. Nice soft feel. Again, they've added more sole shapes, so a little bit more width on some of theirs as well. But again, definitely something if you're looking for a softer feeling wedge, another good wedge here.
For the amateur golfers out there, Simon, that play once a week and they play twice a month.
Yeah.
How long are their wedges going to last them, do you think?
So, comfortably a couple of years.
Yep.
Comfortably. I think what I would suggest is if you do practice, don't just use one club. Vary it, because then you're not just tearing through one set of grooves. Particularly, it's less of an issue over here. In the States, there are a lot of courses and practice grounds that have kind of a sanded base to their ranges, and that is like hitting bunker shots with them. You get more wear on the face, more tread, there's more friction. It's like hitting bunker shots regularly, so that is going to tear through your faces pretty quickly. So I do know people who've got practice wedges, but then again, you end up with one with no grooves at all by the end of it, and then a fresh one for the course, and you're practicing shots results you're not going to see, so it's kind of counterproductive. But it's try and vary the ones you're using if you're in those scenarios. Over here, it's less of an issue. We don't get heavily sanded practice grounds as much.
And is there anything that a golfer can feel on the face? I mean, the old sort of running your fingernails up it. Is that still a good one to use?
It's still not a bad one. I think what you can tend to see is it's looking at how sharp the edges of the grooves are. When a wedge is going to start to lose performance, one, you're going to see no milling pattern on the face. It will have kind of leveled that off and smoothed that off. But the top edge of the groove will start to kind of round off and almost sort of widen off. It's almost like if you've got a bit of clay and you kind of were to smooth off an edge, it blends it down. You're going to get that kind of effect. And the moment you get that, you are going to see a loss of grip. Not on dry conditions, but if it's wet or playing out of rough, you're not getting that top of the groove biting through the grass or the moisture to get to the ball. Yeah. So that's at the point they need to change. But realistically, most players will have a good couple of years or so with their wedges.
Great. Good stuff.
And that MG5, good on spin, but about 300, 400 revs less spin than the Mizunos.
Very good, very good. Simon Muggleton, question for Stu. Can you give us a breakdown of basic guide on what the right arm should do from the address to the top of the backswing? Feel mine is getting too far from my body. Thanks. Of course. So the right arm, I think, is the hardest arm to use and navigate in a backswing because it's the one that's folding. And depending on how much rotation you get in a forearm, when it bends, it can bend up or it can bend down. And of course, that bend point will then start to set the pitch of your shoulders, and it will start to set the pitch of your arms and the club shaft. So first things first, how your right arm works will depend on where your right hand is. The more your palm is down with your grip, the more your forearm will externally rotate and the elbow will tend to sit more underneath the grip. The more your right hand is underneath the club, the more your forearm will tend to internally rotate on the way back, and the more your elbow will sit outside of the grip. So grip is going to orientate where your elbow is at the top. It will have a huge influence on it. Now, in terms of your arm getting away from your body, that would come down to what your pelvis is doing. So the more a golfer moves it sideways and doesn't rotate their pelvis, all of a sudden, if you get sideways, the only way you can get the golf club to the top of your backswing is by moving your arms away from your body. So you move sideways. If you were to keep your arms close to your chest, the club would be somewhere out here. But of course, now I encourage more hip turn. I keep my arms in the same orientation. Now all of a sudden the grip sits behind you. So your right arm is actually really quite a simple motion to get right. Get your right hand on the golf club, pop your lead hand under your trail elbow. That lead arm all of a sudden gets the elbow to stay in front of your trunk. Now, if you're moving your lower half and you're rotating, you can now see how that right arm sets. How it sets, a lot of it will be down to the grip, as I say. But orientating it to your chest is simple. But if your pelvis is not rotating properly, then it all of a sudden gets really awkward. Then you throw some different flight into the equation, hooks or slices. Now all of a sudden you're trying to do all funky things with your arms. So layering some good principles, getting your grip right first of all, then doing that little lead arm drill, see how that feels. If it feels difficult to do that, then you absolutely know that your lower half is not working properly. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into how the right arm works in the backswing.
Very nice, very nice. We even saw some insight into your Saturday night moves.
Yeah, well, you know, I've done a bit of the old...
White suit and everything.
Yeah, got to be done. Young man's game. Mike T, hi Simon, can you recommend any iron heads similar to a Ping i530, but at a lower price point, even older models that could be retrofitted for a new golfer trying to build his first bag?
Okay, so I see this is a follow-on to an email exchange we had recently. So, I mean, you would go back now, if this is for who I think it's for a left-handed player, which might limit some of the options. But yeah, I mean, if you can get hold of something like a 2019 Apex Pro, might be a little less forgiving than they want to go to, but that would certainly be a solid option. I would say, I'm just thinking about ones that could be also say viable being left-handed. So like a previous model 790. You know, that certainly isn't a good window for that. I think you go back a couple of series on the 790s, they're still really good heads, but are going to be good value, and then aren't kind of overly clunky in terms of head shape as well, but lots of performance. I think that's quite a nice option.
If you are new to a Monday Night Live, we do this most weeks when we're not away, you know, schmoozing around the world. No, not quite. But we're here on a 6 p.m. on a Monday evening. We answer all your questions, we demo, and we do everything that you would like us to do when it comes to golf. Steady on. So please share with your friends, and why not hit the like? There's almost 100 of you watching this evening. Hit that little like button. It costs you nothing, and why not subscribe? That is equally free too. Thank you very much. So it helps out the channel. Sculptura, amazing the swing variations with coaches. So glad I came across Stu's swing program, as it feels more natural for me, and my back being a senior golfer. Well, that's good to hear, Sculptura. Thank you so much for that. And Rob K, he was on my live a little earlier. He's come and joined us. Thanks for being here, Rob. Good evening, gentlemen. 60 years old, 77 miles per hour, 7-iron speed. That's pretty good. Yep. Steeper swing plane. Looking for irons with some weight on the club head. 15 to 20 handicapper. Looking for recommendations for irons. A soft feel.
ZXi5, Strixon.
Look at that.
Straight out of the gate. Something with some tungsten at the bottom of the head, good bit of forgiveness, good bit of performance, but a forged frame. Good value as well, Strixon, for what they are. Great quality heads. That's a great option.
And as a senior person, a firm frame is what you will be after. Moving on.
Speaking from experience.
Jason Owen. Is there a case in the UK to use rescue hybrids 7 and 9 woods in the winter months rather than a 3, 4 and 5 iron?
100%, yeah, 100%. I mean, 3 iron for a lot of players, unless you're playing links golf and want a bullet flight, is probably out for most players anyway. I don't play a 3 iron anymore. I do have a driving iron for summer conditions and links golf, but I put a 5 wood in for winter golf or courses that suit that kind of flight. Hitting a long iron off a wet fairway is not fun, and a hybrid or a lofted wood is far easier. So 100% with the ground soft and it's heavy winter golf, that is definitely an easier option.
Golf Nerd 3, Simon, what do you think of using MOI progression to build a set? Did you consider purchasing the MOI machine?
As a principle, it's great. The only thing, excuse me, it doesn't do is it assumes, it's a bit like swing weight as a measure of balance. It assumes, it doesn't take into account how the club moves. MOI assumes that you move the club with the same energy through the set, which you don't. So actually an MOI progressed set is too steeply pitched in terms of progression, because you're not swinging a 9 iron or creating as much energy when swinging a 9 iron as you are a 4 iron. So the principle, at least, is based on some physics rather than a static fulcrum with no thought about how the club moves at all. But what we found over the years is that MOI matching produced a slightly too steep a progression of swing weight, so we softened it off slightly.
Very good. Very good. Good evening, gents. Jason Mikesell, currently gaming ZXi 7s with C taper light shafts. My question is two parts, greedy, as I am considering a driving iron and want something around 17-18 degrees. Would you recommend going with a driving iron or a 3-iron, such as the ZXi 5/7, bent 2 degrees strong? Question mark. Also, would you recommend using the same shaft or a graphite offering? Thanks in advance.
Yeah, first part of that is absolutely use a driving iron head. If you're going down to a 17-18 degree loft, then use the driving iron, like Strixon do the ZXiU. Why would you not use a club that's designed to be that loft and gives you even more performance and forgiveness? You're also going to create more offset and reduce some of the bounce profile and the sole progression by taking 2 degrees off. It is going to change the visuals of the head. So I would use the driving iron head there. Shaft one's an interesting one. The more someone tends to get on top and squeeze their irons, we've tended to see matching the shaft through. So I've always been better matching my driving iron shaft to my iron set. But the more someone plays it as an off the tee club where you're just kind of sending it a bit more, the swing moves a little bit more towards the woods. And we've often then seen going a little bit lighter, whether it's a lighter weight steel or a graphite option, that tends to work better for that player. However, yeah, for me, I've always found if I go lighter, I lose the club. So it depends what you're playing it as. If it's just a send it off the tee club, then the lighter option is probably the better option. If it's an all-round club, you may be better off matching it to your irons.
Shako, back for more. How do the Titleist T250 launch spec irons compare to the Ping Prodi G junior irons in terms of weight of the head? Thinking about getting them for my junior 10-year-old son. He's a good golfer.
So they can't get them quite as light as the Prodigy heads, but they are pretty darn good. There is a head option which you might be able to get there, but the only thing that you're not able to do once you get them is adjust the weight. So they do a very light head, which would be comparable, but there isn't anywhere to internally weight them other than a bit of a tungsten plug in the hosel or a bit of lead tape. Having said that, tech-wise they're great. The lofts are much weaker, kind of old school in terms of lofts, so you're able to get the height on them. But yeah, the head weights are generally starting at about 7 grams lighter than a standard head weight. You can get them lighter than that as well by ordering a particular weight for Titleist. But adjusting those heads, I think the only thing for me, depending on how old the junior is, 10, so and how quickly they progress, is if you go light on the head, you can't then adjust. You then have to buy another set of heads down the line. The Pings have generally been good for making adjustments, but you're going to be paying more for the Titleist than the Pings. So it's kind of one of those interesting ones of how, is it the right time to go kind of all in on a set of heads like that, or actually wants to get to, potentially sort of 12 or 13 years old and start to get that growth period going? Is that the better time to go to a kind of a major branded kind of full-scale model rather than the junior series? It's difficult with juniors because they all develop at different rates and different ages, but head-wise, yes, it'll be suitable if they're a good quality golfer, but the question mark is that always that balance of how much do you want to spend based on they could grow out of those heads in a couple of years' time.
Shako's got loads of money. I think he's going to throw the kitchen sink at it. Sounds like. Anyway, Simon Muggleton. Simon Muggleton, brilliant response to earlier question. Appreciate your time. You're super welcome. Well, no more questions coming in. Let's play the first hole at Wentworth. I think that's a pretty hole. Or what do you think?
What we can both hit tee shots. They can both hit approaches. I can put it onto a game setting and we can play the first hole. Or
let's play the first hole. Let's play the first hole. It's good to play the old girl. She's a lovely golf course. Rob K. Given Stuart's firm senior frame comment, I'm assuming firm flex for that ZXi 5.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Need firmness wherever you can get it. Sculptura, daughter 11 had a Prodigy and switched to a GLE3 and improved her game, winning the Ladies Handicap Championship. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of they're all really good heads. And it's just which one is the right one for that player at that time.
You're up.
Yeah, it's
Do you think that...
It's difficult with juniors, though.
Yeah. Do you think there's also an element that juniors want to be, especially now with social media and how much access they have to seeing the pros play, and stuff, that they don't want to be seen in a junior head?
100%. 100%. We've all been there to play. I remember when my brother and I were starting to play, and once we had some knackered old blades and wooden woods from when my dad played a tiny amount when he was younger to start with, and then once my parents worked out, right, we were having lessons and wanted to play properly, we got some Mizuno Impact kind of sets.
Yeah.
And I remember being devastated because my brother had the red version, I had the blue.
Yeah.
At that point, I didn't realise that the blue was the ladies series and the red was the men's, and I was devastated when I found that out because I felt that it was emasculating. But actually, yeah, the moment I could get into I always played bladed clubs and liked them, but get back into a prettier, better player's head. Yeah. It's no different than the big brand heads now. There is definitely a draw to it. Everyone wants to be seen with the nice kind of shiny, pretty clubs.
Give it a whack.
But it's a tough one because you've got to do it when it's worth doing it, and then they'll actually get the benefit from it as well.
100%. All right.
Right.
This is the most daunting tee shot on the European Tour as voted by the players.
Oh, is it really? Is it? Okay, yeah. Understandable.
The crowd are literally like 3 feet behind them.
Well, the thing is, this is also a thing. If you hit it far enough, the fairway gets about as wide as this mat.
Yeah.
So, right, which I am not going to do. Hit it quite well.
Nice. I saw Greg Turner, New Zealander golfer.
Oh, stay out of the bunker.
Stay out the bunker. You don't want to be in that trap. You don't want to be in that trap. You're not in that trap. Nice drive. I saw Greg Turner hit it across the putting green.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that putting green, when there are amateurs on the first tee, that putting green, which is the bit you can see on the left there, is in play, is bloody
100%,
dangerous.
100%. 100%.
It's a good job everyone's hitting driver, not an iron.
Yeah.
That wasn't going right.
That wasn't very good, that one. Oh, dear.
We've got through a little bit.
Yeah. That's not my best.
Might be driver off the deck for the next one.
That's not my best. Yeah, that isn't my best. Just the two. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to hero it with it. I mean, that's a bloody good effort as well.
There you go. Need to get that up and down.
It's just a hard. So for members, it's a par 5. For the pros, it's a par 4.
Yeah.
Which tells you a little bit about how tough this hole is. So 200 yards. Right.
We've got more questions coming in.
Right. Ball a
200.
Bit below my feet.
Yeah.
89. Actually, that's now coming off.
So Golf Nerd 3 says, Simon, could you name your top 3 coolest looking shafts?
Oh, well, obviously the VA Composite Sinister that I play looks great.
Yeah.
I think coolest looking shafts. From a art point of view, I like the VA Villain because it's like pop art, Roy Lichtenstein, Wham kind of thing. And would I want to play it? Not necessarily, but I think it looks quite good from an artistic point of view. And I do think just the simplicity of the LA Black, the LA Gold series is just a really nice sort of clean black one as well. So, yeah.
Very good.
Very different, those 3, though. Right, 4 on. I've hit it.
Bit left.
I anticipated a fade off the ball below my feet, and I've just ripped it dead straight.
It's all right. Greenside trappage. Greenside trappage.
Which actually is the exact action replay of where I finished last time I played it.
Got 80 yards. 85. 85 down. 90 yard shot. 90 yards playing.
So, as your first hole, 2 out of the first 3 are in the hardest 3 holes in the course.
Yeah.
And so you get through this one, you got slight breather, down. Yeah, slight breather on the second, and then you got hit by the 3rd hole.
Yeah. You need to start with a 4. You need to start with a 4 because 2 and 3.
This is a bit smelly, isn't it?
That's not particularly nice either, is it?
If I play this where I need to, it's going to come back at us fairly quick. So I'm going to kind of scoot. Hopefully it'll pick it up. I'm going to scoot forward to here because this is what we've got, 24 yards, and this needs to get up fairly fast to go.
Yep. Oh, very nice. Oh,
and a bit of chew. There we go.
Chew, there you go. Pair Roadmark says, good evening, Pair. Like to see VA, Estrago and Raijin. Raijin, compared with the head of your choice.
Yeah, we'll have to go out of playing mode.
Yeah, let's kill the playing mode. Let's do that for Pair. Jason Owen, reference summer and winter golf conditions in the UK. Would you fit 2 separate bag setups for each conditions?
Not completely, no. I would be saying I think there are. It's really more about the bridge between your first forward and your longest iron, and possibly a wedge bounce. You could find a reason for looking at a higher bounce for your highest loft wedge in winter, based on the softer conditions. But really, it's more about that. For me, it's that kind of the bridge between your distance fairway wood and one of your longest irons, about what shot type you're looking to come into greens with and what turf conditions to change. So probably something that flights it more, is just easier off a wet lie. I don't think you need to change too much about the actual bag setup. I think you can end up overthinking it and then having too many variables. Yeah, but maybe a bounce profile and a distance club.
Good stuff.
So it was Raijin and the Drago.
That's it. Chung asks, which is a preferred swing style? The old school one plane rollover wrist release. There is no such thing as a one plane golf swing. So that's the first one on that one, Chong. The Hovland style body rotation side bend swing, which is getting popular. Well, I don't really go with either of those personally, because I think there's a couple of different concepts in there that are not quite right. But you know, if you're talking about, you know, a Hogan style swing, which was, you know, the two styles of swing, really what you're talking about is back in the day, you know, when you're talking about even the Faldo era, Hogan, a lot more leg drive in the game then, a lot more spine angle through strike. Golf balls, golf clubs weren't creating the launch that they do now. Compared to now, there's more speed in the golf club. People are more on top of it than they've ever been. So there's a lesser differential between lower half and upper half, compared to now there's more stacked on top of each other through impact. So those are really the two types of golf swings that we see, rather than what you're talking about, roll release. The club face rolls over, whether you like it or not. The heel is overtaken by the toe, whether you like it or not. It's a swinging lever, and it's being pitched around the neck of the golf club. So that would be my answer to your question. So what have we got else up here? We've got Tractor Boy Dave. That's a cracking handle, that. That's a cracking handle.
So that means an Ipswich fan.
Tractor Boy Dave, that's brilliant. Evening, chaps. Great show as always. Thank you, Tractor. I'm not going to call you Dave, I'm going to call you Tractor. Is there a comparable driver shaft to the MMC Tensei Blue?
Yes. So the blue profile is a very neutral profile. I mean, any blue profile from Mitsubishi, whether it's Tensei, C6, Diamana, is based on the same kind of bend profile, very even progression through the shaft. In principle, it's a bit softer in the middle. The DI series is a little softer in the midsection. But I would say the other most similar bend profile would probably be, just thinking, making sure I'm not missing anything, looking at it all. Actually, I think the most similar profile for me would actually be the Aratera, the EC1 Blue.
Very good. We've got 5 minutes left. Give that a whop.
So I've actually chosen Strix on driver head.
Alrighty.
So Drago, I've gone the 65, it's close to the weight that I play. Is a sort of lightest, 62, 63 gram, stable-ish tip, balanced a little down the bottom half, designed for a fairly kind of aggressive move. Nice, stable feel. The shaft we do a lot of, really good quality shaft, a little bit of loader kick out of it, not overly kind of hard feeling, but a sort of mid to stronger playing, keeps the flight nice and stable, but on the lighter side of the 60s in terms of weight. Now the Ryder 2.0 is different, it is heavier. So in principle, it's some kind of smoother profile. It's not overly harsh in the tip. If you want that, you've got the Ryder Black, which is much more tip stout. So it's designed to have a kind of a mid-launch, bit of recovery from the tip section. But this is up nearer the 70 gram mark. So it's a heavier shaft. And yeah, he swings a little heavier because of the dead weight, but the Ryder 2.0 swings pretty strongly in the bottom end. So you've got to kind of fetch the bottom end a little bit more, and as a result, it can feel a little bit stronger because you've got to work harder to swing it. So I've had to fetch, that's heavier than I play, I've had to fetch at it a bit. But you do feel a bit of kick out the tip end on this one, but weight profile quite different, and there's still a smooth playing shaft, but it in terms of feel, but is almost 10% heavier. So that's where the biggest difference comes in terms of how they're going to play for you.
So moving into 3 minutes. Thanks for your help, Daniel Winterbottom. The reason I've dismissed hybrids is that they usually hook them, but if in flat, it's just a push. Alrighty. Edwin Lamley. Hi lads, love your show. Thank you, Edwin. Could you let me know what would today's irons be that compared to the Mizuno T-Zoid Pro 2 irons? I love them. Love the thin sole. Thanks. Gosh, there's not many of those around now.
So there aren't going to be too many narrow shells. The S3 is not going to be a million miles off. That's a bit narrower than the Mizuno one. That's probably your closest one in terms of a bit of a muscle up the middle of the back of the head, like the T-Zoid did. The TaylorMade, the P7CBs aren't a million miles off. PXG also do the CB that has a little notch in the back, similar to the old T-Zoid Pro.
Very good. Mark Rowley Stuart, I'm over swinging the club. Any thoughts or drills I can use on the course to keep it compact? Sorry. Cheers. P.S. What's for tea? So doing it on the course to try and shorten it up on the golf course, don't bother doing that. Just let it all hang out. Work on some tempo, rhythm, timing. That would be my play on the golf course. If you want to work at it on the range, get yourself a TheraBand around your neck, push the band away and work on my drills for that one. As opposed to what's for tea, I'm not sure. I will decide when I get home and see what's in the fridge.
Palm wind pudding ate too much last week.
Yeah, exactly. Doug, great show, guys. Thanks for taking on the challenge. You're welcome, Doug. Well, that's it. We've managed to get through them all. Another great show. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Forgot how quickly an hour goes.
I know. Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Give me a score prediction.
So 14 all's a draw. I'm going to go 15-13. Pains me to say it, I think the US are going to win.
So 15-13 the US. No, I want your prediction. 16-12 in favour of? Us. 16-12. 15-13. I'm going a half. We retain it. That's what I'm going with. Well, hopefully, it's this week, right?
No.
Next week.
A couple of weeks' time.
That's right, a week early. Brilliant.
Yeah,
well, we'll be back next Monday anyway. Thank you all so much for your questions. James,
and then we might revise those predictions.
Yeah. If there's been a punch up in the car park.
Yeah, I literally think it's one match either way.
Yeah.
Too tight to call.
Yeah. If you have got a prediction, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. As usual, big thanks to Simon, James, and of course myself. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great golfing week and enjoy the show.